Morning, ladies. Today is March 31st, and we are going to be focusing on dividing a fraction by a non-zero whole number. So basically, we're going to be taking a fraction, we're going to be dividing it, and then a non-zero whole number basically just means that we're dividing it by a whole number that is not zero. So today we're going to be using that keep, change, flip method that we practiced in class and that we have been practicing through our virtual lessons. So the first thing that we want to do is we always want to make sure that we are taking our whole number and putting it over 1 so that it's easier to look at and it becomes a fraction that we can work with. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to keep that first fraction, which is 1/4. We're going to change that division to become multiplication, and then we're going to flip 2/1 to become 1/2. 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 2 is 8. Another part that's really important about when you're doing division of a fraction by a whole number, if you start with a fraction, you are taking a fractional part and you are breaking it into smaller pieces, which means that your answer is going to be a fraction. If you are dividing a fraction into pieces, it will become a fraction. So our answer will always be a fraction. And then just like we did yesterday, another way that you can check your work is using multiplication, turning this around and taking our fraction that we got, which was 1/8, and then we want to multiply that by our whole number. So our whole number was 2. So you want to make sure that you're using 2/1. 1 times 2 gives me 2. 8 times 1 is 8. And then if I were to reduce this, it will actually give me 1/4, which tells me that my answer is correct. So going on to the next one, I have 1/4 divided by 4. So I'm going to take my 1/4, I'm going to put, and I'm going to divide it by 4/1, making sure that my whole number has a 1 underneath it. Using my keep, change, flip strategy, 1/4 is going to stay the same. I'm going to change my division to become multiplication, and then I'm going to flip 4/1 to become 1/4. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 4 is 16. And then again, if I want to check my work, I'm going to take my answer, my 1/16, and I'm going to multiply it by my whole number, which is 4/1. 1 times 4 is 4. 16 times 1 is 16. If I were to reduce these both by 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4, which gives me the fraction that I started with, which tells me that 1/16 is correct. All right, going down to the next one. I have 1/2 divided by 2. 2 becomes 2/1, and then I use my keep, change, switch strategy. So we keep 1/2. I change division to become multiplication, and then I do 2/1. It flips to become 1/2. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. So now we're going to check our work. Flipping this around, we have 1/4. We multiply it by our whole number, which is 2/1. And remember, we're not dividing here. It's just multiplication. So we multiply just straight across. We don't flip anything. 1 times 2 is 2. 4 times 1 is 4. If I were to divide these each by 2, that's going to give me the 1/2 that I started with. All right, take a look at 1/2 divided by 4. It becomes 1/2 divided by 4/1. We keep 1/2. We change division to become multiplication, and then we flip 4/1 to become 1/4. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 4 is 8. So now we're going to check our answer, make sure that 1/8 is correct. We start with 1/8. We multiply, and we multiply it by our whole number, which was 4/1. And we want to get an answer of 1/2. 1 times 4 is 4. 8 times 1 is 8. And then we know by just looking at this, 4 is half of 8. But I'm going to go through and divide each of these by 4, which gives me 1/2. So my answer is correct. All right, go down to 1/2 divided by 5. 5 is 5/1. Using keep, change, flip, we have 1/2 times, this flips to 1/5. Remember, we want our answer to be a fraction because we are taking a fraction and making it into smaller pieces. We get an answer of 1/10. So then we're going to check our answer, make sure that 1/10 is correct. 1/10, we're going to multiply it by our whole number, which is 5/1, which gives us 5/10. And we know that 5 is half of 10. So that is correct. All right, so the next one, we have 1/5 divided by 2/1. We keep 1/5. We divide, or we change division to multiplication. And then we do 2/1. We flip it, which becomes 1/2. Again, we get 1/10. We're going to check our work by taking that 1/10. And we're going to multiply it by 2/1, that whole number, which gives me 2/10. 2 can equally go into 10, so I can divide by 2, which gives me 1/5. So we are correct with an answer of 1/10. All right, we have 2 more examples. 1/2 divided by 7. 7 becomes 7/1. Put this down. 1/2 is going to stay the same. We're going to change that division to multiplication, and then we're going to flip 7/1 to become 1/7. We multiply straight across and get 1/14. Then we're going to check to see if 1/14 is the correct answer. Remember when we solved, these are our answers. The purple is going to be us checking our work, okay? So the actual answer is 1/14. But now we just want to make sure we're correct. So 1/14, we're going to multiply by 7/1. 1 times 7 is 7. 14 times 1 is 14. And we know that 7 is half of 14. So we are correct. And then last but not least, 1/6 divided by 2. 2 becomes 2/1. 1/6, we're going to stay the same because it keeps. Remember, keep, change, flip. We keep the 1/6. Change division to multiplication. And then flip 2/1 to 1/2. We multiply and get 1/12. So 1/12 is our answer. And now we want to check to make sure that 1/12 is correct. So we have 1/12, that's our answer we start with. We're going to multiply it by our whole number, which is 2. 2/1. Multiply straight across. 1 times 2 is 2. 12 times 1 is 12. We're going to divide those. 2 can equally go into 12, so we're going to divide by 2. And we get an answer of 1/6. So we are correct. So for your assignment today, you're going to be logging into Pearson Realize. Your assignment on Pearson Realize is going to be labeled with today's date, which is 3-31-20, so March 31st, 2020. You're going to be working through the assignments that have been assigned for you. And then if you finish early, please make sure that you're going on Freckle or Prodigy to get a little extra practice. If you have any questions, you can always write to me on Pearson Realize. So scholars, if you're working through these, there's a little comment box on each assignment, and you can write to me and I can write back to you about questions or comments that you might have. So just keep that in mind, that you do have the ability to communicate with me through Pearson Realize, and I'm happy to give feedback if you have any questions. So have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.